Honestly, it felt like I was being betrayed by God. And to understand why, you'd have to really understand the context where we were at, what was going on at that point in time. So I'm going to share that today, the context and what was happening when God told us to leave Norway, leave our commitment as missionaries in Norway, and come back to the U.S., to our home country. If you aren't tracking at all, if you're new here, we are missionaries working with YWAM. We just moved from Norway back to the U.S. There's a whole vlog about this, but basically God told us to go to Norway, and somewhere in the mix I kind of attached to it the idea of being there for 4 years. And so we were very focused, almost to the point where that was the measure of success, was being in Norway for 4 years. And last summer when we visited the U.S. after we'd been in Norway for 2 years, we were just kind of looking around, maybe thinking about and praying about what was next after the 4 years. And so we came up here to Kansas City and we visited here for just a couple days. And God spoke to us while we were here. They were moving to Kansas City, and that was completely out of the blue, unexpected. And so that's what I'm talking about today, is what it felt like to hear that from God, to hear God tell us to come home early.
Dowdy's house. First play date. So excited.
Daddy, we're driving.
Now we're gonna walk.
Drive.
So the story is, we were very focused, very motivated. We had come up with a vision. We were working really hard on this big, multiple year-long project. First year had been really hard, worked too hard on it, weren't enough of us for the effort. And I've been working hard on recruiting people and asking them to come and join our team and commit for 2 years to this effort. And I didn't personally recruit all of them, but there were 8 people joining our team, 4 or 5 of them full-time and a couple of them in between schools. So suffice to say, I was not ready to move back to the U.S. I was like, we're in the middle of this, and I'm doing this for God. And he asked me, like, really? You're doing it for me? Did I ask you to do this? Did I ask you to do 4 years? Did I ask you to launch this effort and make it happen? I was like, not the best answer. IHOP base. Remember when we watch on TV and they sing? The musicians, they sing and they worship, and you were like, oh, they're cool. What are they doing? They're worshiping Jesus? That's where we're going.
Where every transgression is.
So yeah, I mean, hearing him say to move back, it wasn't what we were planning. We had made plans, and other people had made plans around us. I mean, it was not the best situation for me personally, for how I felt about it, for the fact that I was going to have to tell people that God was leading us away, tell leaders, tell people on my team. And I wasn't excited about that, to say the least. I think an area of struggle in my life is wanting people to like me, wanting people to make people happy, more than just your average, like, wanting to be a likable person, but really valuing what people think about me. And I was like, what are our supporters gonna think? What are our team gonna think? What are our leaders gonna think? And God's like, it doesn't matter what everyone else says, doesn't matter what everyone else is wanting or how they'll feel about it. It matters whether I'm leading you to do it or not. Am I enough for you? Is me telling you to go enough? Or does it need to make sense? Does it need to be what everyone else thinks, or what you want, or what looks good, or what your supporters will be excited about? That was got over the initial shock of God's leading us home, and it started to be like, crap, this is going to be one long painful process to tell people, to go through the process of actually leaving. Like, this is going to be like painful extraction of this people-pleasing part of my heart, which is good, but definitely painful. And it has been. That's what this last season has been, is saying, you know what, God, you're right. You're the one that gets to make sense of all this. You're the one that gets to lead us, and you're the one that we answer to.
In here. I'm gonna have my cards in here.
So after we visited Kansas City, we got back in the car and we were driving back down to Texas, where we were spending most of our time last summer, and we just spent some time praying. And one of the things that God brought up to us was Tasha got this image of 3 arrows pointing the same way and felt like God was going to give us 3 indicators, 3 signs or confirmation, whatever you want to call it, that we were supposed to move here. And so we started asking God and looking around to see, you know, whether he would confirm it or not. And he did. No, right now, bud. About to make some lunch. Hey. That's my little booty.
I'm gonna shoot you.
No, don't shoot the camera.
Okay, obviously, that's tough.
This starts eating.
So I've been telling everyone on the vlog today what it was like for me to hear God tell us to move back to America. How was it for you?
I mean, I think I was probably just as surprised as you were,
Yeah.
but probably my response was a little bit more of relief. In a way, living overseas is hard, and I think it was harder for me than for you.
You weren't mad about Kansas City
I was
either.
not mad about Kansas City. I had a little bit of a hard time believing at first that Kansas City was where we were gonna go, because I literally, if you could pick anywhere in the US, it's like, probably besides Abilene, which is our hometown, I would want to live in Kansas City. And so I think it was hard for me to believe that I would actually get to live somewhere that I wanted to live. So I think at first, even the idea, I was just like, it's not gonna happen, but whatever. So I was really glad when I found out we were moving here.
Oh no! We got a crash.
I think we should get them some knee pads,
Knee pads.
elbow pads.
So it was very challenging to hear God tell us to move back. It was hard to let go of, but I can't describe to you how much of a blessing it was to have God take me through that struggle last fall, before Elijah was born, before coronavirus happened, before all of the stuff of this year has happened, and to really let me go through the wrestle of him saying, it's time to go back to the US, and to give me vision for why, and to explain that it's him and it's his heart. It was so kind of him. I can't imagine what it would be like to come into this year and realize that we needed to be back in the US, realize that we needed to go home, and to be feeling like we don't know why or where we're going or what's going on. It was so good of him to speak to us in that time. And in the moment, it felt like the last thing I wanted to hear, but sometimes when you just give yourself a little time, you realize that it's exactly what you needed to hear. It's exactly where you wanted to go, and that's what the leadership of God is like. It's so good. So, thanks for watching. We are still adjusting things here, but we are feeling a lot better this week. Elijah had his surgery. That went really well. That was over 2 weeks ago at this point. Next week, or next time on the vlog, we're going to talk more about those confirmations the Lord gave us. I'm excited. So we'll see you guys in the next one. Bye. One of the confirmations connects to why I'm doing this whole deal.